Shrinkflation is a big thing these days, and pizza lovers online have been asking one thing. Have the pizzas gotten smaller? The takeaway pizzas of my childhood were massive. Or do I just remember them bigger?
Because I was smaller.
Here in Australia specifically, it does feel like we're getting ripped off. The pizzas are tiny. So today I'm going to show you how to recreate at least my childhood memories of delicious bad pizza. It's easily done at home, it's not too expensive, and it doesn't actually take that long as far as pizza's concerned. Let's get stuck in. But first, I need to order some pizza. It's been a while since I've done this. I feel a little bit naughty, like a bad boy. Maybe don't put that in. How do I do this? Dominoes. Can I not call them? Now, there's nothing better than a beautifully homemade wood-fired pizza, but we've all had a delicious bad pizza as well. Why are you gonna push so many buttons? My first memory of pizza is going to Pizza Hut and eating the all-you-can-eat pizza buffet back in Johnsonville in Wellington, New Zealand. And I have very fond memories of that pizza. Mix and match pots. How do I just order a pizza? It's not traditional, it is what it is, and every now and then I kind of crave it. Okay, so here we go, now we're talking. Size. Let's get the biggest that I've got. Family. Okay, whoa, it's 30 bucks.
For one pizza.
For one pizza, 30 bucks. Now the truth is, I don't order pizza like this anymore, but every now and then I do crave it. But today I really want to discover whether it's worth spending all the effort and energy to make it yourself, or do like Bugger Lugs is doing and then just order it in. Estimated delivery time, loading. I think I know the answer, but let's find out. Hello mate.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you.
How long have you worked at Domino's for?
A year and 3 months.
3 months, awesome. Thanks for that, brother. It's $100. We have acquired the pizzas. I agree, Duck, that's ridiculous. I think I'm more offended by that. Like, it's not even filling the box. Is this a large? See, to me, that feels like a large. All right, let's talk about the good. The cook on them's pretty nice. It's got a really nice color underneath, which is hard to get in a domestic oven. I think that's impressive. It feels like there's a lot of sauce on this one here. It's like coming off the sides. We'll call that a training issue. It all smells the same. I guess that's an observation. I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, but I just can't get over the size. Like it's bad pizza. And I don't say that in a derogatory way. I say that in a it is what it is way. Like we've already discussed, I don't have anything against bad pizza, but that as a large feels like a ripoff. So all these pizzas combined cost me like $104. That was with a 30% discount on the large pizzas. It seems like a lot of money for this amount of pizza. Realistically, I think this feeds 4 adults. So 25 bucks a person. But if you didn't have the discount, this is like what, like 130 bucks? 130 bucks. Let's have a little taste. This mini size is actually a joke. Like, how is that $12? That is what it says on the tin. It's got like, Domino's has this like interesting chew to the dough, which I think is important in bad pizza. All right, let's taste this one with a lot of sauce. I definitely prefer the dough on that one. You get that like springy chewiness. This just feels all that one texture, and it's really, really sweet. I don't know if my palate's changed. I'm not really a fan of that. I don't mind that, if I'm honest. I'm not a fan of that. Let's measure these. Family size, 320 mils. The large is 240 mils, which is half an inch shorter than what Food Wars reported in their video a year ago. Now, that could be just a stretching thing, but half an inch is half an inch. Feels like a whole piece of pizza. And the mini, 180 mils. To me, the fact that Domino's is always changing their price almost feels like a bit of a marketing tactic. You don't really know what value you're getting. Now, we 100% cannot confirm for sure that these have shrunk, but it certainly feels that way to me, and it definitely feels that way to old mate on Reddit. With all these gimmicks that these pizza companies have, like hot dog pizzas, I think there was a pie pizza not long ago, I think we can safely say that Domino's is a marketing business and not a food business. So before you run away and afterpay a pizza, yes, that is possible, and please do not do it. Let's make one ourselves. I guarantee it's gonna be better and probably cheaper. So to make your dough, you're gonna add the water, yeast, and sugar to a bowl of a stand mixer. If you don't have one, you can just use a bowl and a wooden spoon. Attach the dough hook and mix on low to combine for 1 to 2 minutes. Next, you're gonna add the flour and mix on a medium-low speed for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you're gonna scrape down the sides before pouring in the olive oil and salt and mixing for a further 5 minutes on a medium-low speed. You're looking for a smooth, elastic dough. While that's mixing, pour around a teaspoon of olive oil into a bowl and grease up the sides. This is gonna help your dough rise when you're pruning it. Remove the dough dough from the mixing bowl and bring it together on the bench until you have a lovely smooth surface and a nice tight ball. Place into your grease bowl and you're going to cover and prove until it's doubled in size. Depending on where you are and how hot it is, it could take anything from 1 to 2 hours. Now you're going to knock back the dough, divide it into 3 balls, shaping them into tight balls again that are nice and smooth on the top. So the way you're going to do that is by holding the dough at one end and then slapping it down and pulling it back over itself. What that does is create tension on the surface of the dough. Then you're going to bring the bottom together and crimp it so it keeps it nice and tight. And you should end up with a lovely smooth exterior. And lightly grease the top of the balls and then cover loosely with plastic wrap. You're going to prove again for another 30 minutes to an hour depending on how hot your kitchen is. So here in front of me I have the 3 pizza sizes in Australia in dough. We've got a 450 gram, a 300 and 150 gram pizza dough. You can really see how big the difference is in the size of the dough compared to how small of a difference is in the diameter of the finished pizza. So let's stretch these out and see where you end up. And to Domino's credit, they do hand stretch their doughs, so don't get frustrated if it is a little bit off. We're all human, sometimes we make mistakes. Let's start with the big boy. So very important with a Domino's copycat pizza is we use semolina flour to stretch it. We don't use wheat flour, and that's what gives that little texture on the bottom and also a bit of extra flavor. So this is basically a version of my New York style pizza dough that's on my website, but we removed the wholemeal flour and we fermented it way faster. So the New York pizza dough on my website takes like 3 days. This dough takes like 3 hours to make. When we're stretching it, important to leave a really nice big rim on the edge, and that's what gives us that really big puffy kind of bready texture that we all love in bad pizza. So the difference between this and like a Neapolitan is it's actually not a great deal when you're stretching. You're trying to keep the air in the outside and you're trying to flatten it. You can also use gravity a lot to kind of get it going as opposed to stretching it with a Neapolitan, which you will like this. And the reason you can use gravity is because it's a pretty soft and pliable dough. Let's have a look. Here we go. Well, that's actually a bit bigger. That's 330 mil, which is a bit over 12.5 inches, but it will probably kind of come down a bit anyway. Let's leave that to the side and stretch these other ones. So this is the large and we're going for 10 inches. That's a bit bigger than 10 inches. And finally the mini, we're going for 7 inches here. Wow, that's that. That is not a pizza. Our 3 sizes, family, large, mini. All right, we're gonna make the most standard of pizza, the margarita. The most important thing about a margarita pizza, in my opinion, is the sauce. I'll show you how to make that now. To a medium-sized saucepan or saucier, you're gonna add an 800 gram can of crushed tomatoes, 60 mils of tomato paste, 1 tablespoon dried oregano, 1 tablespoon dried basil, 1 tablespoon dried garlic powder, 1 tablespoon salt, 1 tablespoon caster sugar, and half a teaspoon of white pepper. You're gonna mix it well, and you're gonna cook it on a medium-low heat for 20 minutes. Now, it's worth mentioning, we are not making a classic Neapolitan pizza. A little bit of sugar is fine in the sauce, but don't you dare do it if you are making classic Neapolitan, or none will come for you. So we're just gonna spread that sauce evenly once it's completely cooled, leaving that 1.5 centimeters for the big puffy rim. So Domino's does cheese first. I'm actually a cheese last type of guy. I think it kind of holds the toppings on, but hey, what do I know about bad pizza? I know that we're getting ripped off. I was proud of that one. Well, Caleb didn't even react. Yeah. He gave me nothing. Where's the home of Domino's? Where was Domino's invented?
It's made in Michigan. In the 60s as Dominic's Pizza.
So Domino's bake their pizzas at 445 Fahrenheit, which is 230 Celsius. Let's get these in the oven. So one of the benefits about making this type of pizza at home is you can do it in a domestic oven. You don't cook it in nearly as hot a temperature. So the difference in that is that it cooks a lot slower. So these took they took 10 to 12 minutes to cook, whereas if you're doing like a Neapolitan style pizza, that's gonna cook in like 60 to 90 seconds. But you're cooking a Neapolitan pizza at like 450 degrees Celsius. So almost twice as hot and in about 1/6 the time. So the other big factor is the style of oven. In a pizza oven, you've got a big mass of heat on the bottom that effectively cooks the pizza from the bottom up. Whereas a domestic oven, you definitely don't have that real kind of spring factor or that heaps of heat energy into the bottom of the base of the pizza, which is why you end up with a very pale base. All right, let's have a taste. Very doughy pizza. It tastes pretty close. I think the key difference is that from memory, childhood pizzas, they were far more greasy. This is not that greasy at all. This is like very bready, but it's got that kind of, I guess that like American style pizza sauce flavor. And I think the cheese is the thing that's causing it to have less greasiness. I think the American cheese that they use sometimes in Domino's, it gets quite greasy. But for me, this is about as good as bad pizza gets. It's bready, it's filling, it's got a very classic pizza flavor, and it's easy to eat. So we've got the fundamentals right. We know how to make a good base. We know how to make the sauce. Let me show you how to make another couple of classic bad pizza flavors. Hawaiian and meat lovers. They're two absolute classics and have a lot of nostalgia attached to them for a lot of people. I think food's a funny thing. I think when you start out in food as a professional or even just as a serious home cook, you start having an interest in food. Then you go up a level and you might become a chef, or you might just become a really serious home cook. And more often than not, you start getting a little bit pretentious with your food, and you turn your nose at things like this. And then I've seen it time and time again. Some of the best chefs in the world. You get to a certain point in your cooking career, whether that's professional or just as a great amateur, and you kind of circle back around and you kind of enjoy this stuff. You understand what purpose it has in society. Because it does have a purpose, right? Brand names or not, whether it's a shitty pizza from a big brand name, like we've been talking about today, or a bad pizza from a corner shop in the Sunshine Coast, where my producer Caleb earned his stripes making pizza.
Shout out to Lucky's Pizza.
Shout out to Lucky's Pizza in the Sunshine Coast.
That's not where I work.
That's not where I work.
Spot.
But it's a good spot. I think the great thing about this pizza recipe as well is I'm going to call it a gateway pizza recipe. The dough is really forgiving. It happens quickly and it's quite easy to handle. And if you do it on these pizza trays as well, you're not dealing with peels. You're not learning how to put pizza onto a stone and remove it. It's just a really good gateway into making pizza, because learning how to handle dough, it's really hard to write in a recipe. It's about kind of time with your hands and dough makes the most sense. So the pineapple pizza. A lot of chefs, a lot of people will say that pineapple on pizza doesn't work. But if you think about it, when you've got the tomato, which is, savory, a little bit sour and full of umami, and you got mozzarella, which is full of fat, really helps carry flavor, and you got smoky and salty leg ham and lovely sweet pineapple, the flavor combination works, whether you like it or not. Now, truth be told, if I'm asked whether I like pineapple on my pizza or whether I ever order a Hawaiian pizza, I always say no. There's something in me that makes me say no, and I can't say yes, but it works.
Whoa, no way.
There's a reason it's probably the most ordered pizza in the history of pizza. Can we verify that? And fun fact, the Hawaiian pizza was invented not in Hawaii or even in mainland United States, it was invented in Canada. It's the same with the meat lovers. It breaks so many rules of traditional pizza making. So we got salty, smoky barbecue sauce. It's super easy to pull together. Let me show you how quickly. You're gonna add your ketchup, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, maple syrup, Worcestershire sauce, Maggi seasoning, salt, garlic powder, and smoked paprika to a saucepan. You're gonna bring it up to a light simmer over a medium heat, stirring frequently. Then you're gonna turn it down to a low heat and simmer for 20 minutes. Once it's done, let it cool completely before you use it on your pizza. And once you've let your barbecue sauce cool and you got it on your pizza, you lay it up with a bunch of salty meat. So we've got beef mince, just in little balls, pulled apart, still raw. This pizza's gonna cook for like 12 minutes. There's more than enough time for it to cook. Bacon, sausage, also raw, ham, mozzarella cheese. I kind of go against the grain on this one and put my cheese on top of a lot of the stuff. Make sure it stays on top of the pizza, but I do save the pepperoni for the end. I love those little crispy bits of pepperoni. Look, as much as I wouldn't admit that to a lot of my chef mates, if you like cured meats and barbecue sauce, there's no way that doesn't taste good. Let's get these baked off. Now, we often get pretentious about our food choices, including myself. I use a lot of expensive ingredients on this channel, making interesting and extravagant dishes. But at the end of the day, pizza is pizza. And there is something about that that is so wholesome. Now, don't get me wrong, Neapolitan pizza is incredible, but so is this. Now, that's how I remember good, bad pizza.